Hey, welcome to the Midday Roast. I'm Tim Whitley, and I'm the CEO and founder of Team SI, and this is
Karen Reynolds.
She is our director of EQ, and so what that means basically is she is everything that processes through our EQ division, whether it's our subject today about acquiring dealerships and merging dealerships. She and her entire team handles that. And mostly I call her the tradigital EQ queen, but that's a different subject. But welcome, Karen, to the show, and so appreciate it.
Thank you.
And in the room also is Grace and Blake, who are helping to put all of this stuff together. So we know that during this time, a lot of people are at lunch, and we know that during the week, we continue to gain viewers, and during the month, we continue to gain viewers, and then it goes on YouTube and podcasts. So what I'm trying to get to is feel free to ask questions inside of the comment box, and then also know that later on, even though it's not live, we will be monitoring those. Grace will be monitoring those, and we'll be able to provide answers and additional feedback. So today's subject, though, is something that a lot of equipment dealers are going through right now, and it's something that actually the whole United States is going through. I mean, you got AT&T merging with Time Warner. You got Gray TV merging with Raycom. You got
Monsanto and Bayer. And then you got, there's a ton of mergers going on. But there's also a ton of mergers in our niche, what she does, niche industry, is the equipment division. And inside of that equipment division, we've been doing it for 3 or 4 years. We came out of the automotive side and realized that all of the customer journey of how a person shops for a vehicle and researches for a vehicle, literally 98% of those traits were in the equipment division, but no equipment dealers really knew that. And so back in, I always forget years, but let's say 3 years ago, I went on this speaking circuit along with the team to educate equipment dealers about how consumers shop for equipment these days. And it's not just looking at your website and hitting the call button. It's mostly on mobile. And they are going through about 7 pages and looking at used equipment. They look at 7.2 different websites. I mean, we have a ton of information on that. And so we're not going to dive into that today, but there are historical videos that do talk about all of that stuff. But today we're going to talk about literally the mergers and acquisitions portion. And inside of this, we learned from the automotive space about the mergers and acquisitions because we were doing it so long. And so let me just be frank and tell you exactly how that positioned is that our automotive dealers would literally tell us, hey, in 30 days, we will be acquiring X, Y, Z. And we would sign an NDA and we would go to work. Because in 30 days in this new world of everything that has to be changed inside the customer journey is a full-time job. And thank God it's more than just a full-time job because Karen has a whole team to help her with that. So that's what we'll be talking about today. And then Karen here has actually personally dealt with acquisitions and mergers in your family From
industry.
the dealer side, yes.
Yeah.
I'm a family dealership, and I was a young adult at the time. We sold a couple of stores, and so I realized what a busy time that is because you've got to keep business running in addition to all the efforts that it takes for that complicated process of buying and selling a location or multiple locations. So we respect that is such a busy time for you, and we're able to take the marketing end off of your to-do list. We can take that while you can concentrate on negotiations and everything that goes on the dealer side of the acquisitions.
And so let's talk about what is different between, when you did it and your family did it and my family, but what is the difference between then and what is the difference between now?
There's so many more platforms to deal with. There's so much more information out there, and you have to worry about everything. Or be concerned with everything. You have to address the business directories, your social media platforms, and the websites and all the ads and everything that goes along with that.
Yeah, and we're going to dive deeper into that. But 10 years ago, it was about changing the yellow pages, changing the signs, and doing a direct mail piece and calling it a day. And there's a lot of equipment dealers that still practice that approach. And
that's good for some dealers.
Yes.
In addition to the other platforms that we work with digitally.
But what we find, though, is that if you're Googling, which everybody Googles, 93% of Karen's audience, the equipment industry, literally 93% Google to find the piece of equipment or to find, to start their customer journey. 93%, okay, of all ages. So that being said, when you're looking up something, what we find when we go into talks with an equipment dealer and they said, yeah, we acquired some dealerships about a year ago, and then we start looking in the business directory audits, social media audits, etc., that the old acquired name is still out there in existence as it stands alone, and that confuses inside of the customer journey. So we're going to address that as well, because it's all a part of the equation. And when we look at the customer journey, so think about this for a second. Take yourself out of the equipment industry just for a minute. And let's move, because sometimes we're way too close to our business, just like I'm way too close to data, way too close to agency, firm, marketing, etc. So let's take a step back and think about how you research your next vehicle or your next television or your next big investment, a house.
Yes.
It's not a one-day process. You are literally going through Google search on a Housewise, you're going through Zillow, Realtor.com, you're going through all these different steps. And all these different steps are important, but during an acquisition, let's say just like what Ms. Karen was saying, that day one of the acquisition, you just go ahead and do a redirect from the acquired dealer to your new dealership, to the new dealership, the acquiring dealer. That totally throws off the person that's in the middle of the customer journey. And in the customer journey, there are 9 steps that we have showcased so many times on this and other videos. But it goes from Google to social media to reviews to business directories to all of that stuff, SEO, etc. And so what we don't want to do is interrupt that process, because if you interrupt that process, literally 19% of those folks inside of the customer journey are just going to be lost and they're going to go to somebody else. And so that's why we take mergers so seriously here. And so if we want to go down to the bullet points, I'm going to hit the first one on the social strategy. So, and then Karen's going to hit, the search strategy, and we'll just kind of go back and forth. But on the social strategy, Facebook's algorithm is very important because Facebook is becoming a search engine. If you think about all the websites you ever go to, an Amazon, a Google, a Facebook, a Target, whatever it may be, even hopefully your dealership, you have a primary search button on your website, one bar search. And so when we do analytics and heat mapping off of our websites, we notice people just go to that search box and type exactly what they want right then and there and hit enter. That is because Google, honestly, and give them a lot of credit, and so does Amazon get a lot of credit, teaching the behavioral trait of find the nearest search box and search. What I'm going about as Facebook has that search box at the very top. Mm-hmm. So we can't just let that disappear of the acquired dealer. So what you do when you merge these pages together, which is a complicated process anyway, because each one's going to have a location. And let's say you're acquiring 4 locations up to 18 locations, which we just recently saw in an article. But each one of those locations is going to have a Facebook page. So you're going to have to merge those together, but you're going to have to add keywords inside of the acquiring dealer of the acquired dealership. And I know I keep messing up the words there, but the acquiring dealer on the Facebook side needs the keywords of the acquired dealer so that it populates once someone is searching through Facebook. Did I miss anything there?
I think that was very good, Tim.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then talk about the search strategy, because it kind of works the same way inside of that with Google's algorithm, Yahoo, etc.
It does. And we develop search campaigns with keywords that include the acquired dealership name as well as the acquiring dealership name, so that when the longtime customers search for the dealership name that they've known for sometimes generations,
yeah.
it will pop up with the new acquiring dealership name. There's a transition there, and it depends on how long we feel that transition, or we see that transition needs to take, that we continue to buy the keywords for the acquired dealership name, so that those customers have a time to develop a relationship and a familiarity with the new acquired dealership name.
That's very true. And not specifically just with paid media, because paid media is one thing, but if you search for the acquired dealership, SEO plays a big role into it, because people do scroll down to the organic search results. Number two is that on these paid ads, the good thing is if they search for the acquired dealership, Karen and her team really just don't direct it to the homepage of the new dealership. It's to a page where it introduces the customers that have been with the dealership in the past for generations. You're not kidding. I mean, your family's dealership was generations. My mom's dealership, generations. So you got to draw an emotional connection.
Correct.
Because they had an emotional connection with that dealership.
And it's not a negative to the acquiring dealer at all. It's just
it's opportunity.
a habit. Yeah.
But it's opportunity to lead them to something that explains to them the benefit of it.
Correct.
And your best strategy, Karen, is a really high-end video that explains it and gets the CEO and the founder and the last name usually that's going to be on the new billboard that explains, or the new signage that explains what's going on. And it really does have to be high-end and no, cell phone video production or anything like that, because we want to give them the best emotional experience.
It's a positive, high-quality experiance.
Yeah.
And
we
it
take
is
that very
important.
seriously.
We've had tremendous results with the custom video that we've produced. And while it's high-end, it's not high budget.
Correct.
Yes.
And Blake, does a lot of these videos for us that's in the room, and he's very good at, using keywords like welcome to the family and stuff like that, and really drawing out that this is a family organization. It's different in the automotive world when you acquire, because it's all about quantity on the automotive side, and nothing about the automotive side is the negative portion. But our relationships in the equipment world are more handshakes. They are more
customer experience.
Oh yeah,
customer experience is tremendous.
When you get text messages from your clients to the CEO because they need something or whatever. I mean, it's that kind of relationship that we have with our partnerships.
It is.
So that's a part of the search strategy, but the search strategy also leads into the business directory. So this is a toughie because
yes, it is. I'm glad to hear you say that.
It is a toughie. I mean, literally, there are so many business directories out there. You cannot forget about Apple Maps. You can't forget about Yelp. Did you know 411 still exists and our customers use it? So can't forget about that. And there's about 22 others that we have nailed down that our audience utilizes. In the automotive space, it's about 60 plus different business directories.
Oh my goodness.
So luckily we only have a third.
Imagine. Yes.
Luckily we only have a third. But that's each location. And so changing those on day one, you have to have a strategy, because Google's not going to change on day one. It takes 4 to 6 weeks to get all of that stuff changed and in a system.
That's our hope.
And lock it down.
That's what we try. That's what we shoot for. But it's a complicated process.
It is.
It is very complicated.
And remember though, you got to have those keywords inside of there of the old dealership, so that when they're Googling 5 years from now, because they used to only come to you for service, that you're still populating and it still explains why you acquired X. I mean, it's a long-term strategy, and it's not just a flick of a switch is what we're trying to get to with all of this. Yes. Talk about the video strategy. I know we hit on it a little bit, but talk about that and how it's not just long form; it can be other things as well.
Well, and it's the T's amplify echo that you've taught us, I guess you could say. Where a couple of examples we have is where we did the welcome to the family video, and you start with a 6-second bumper where it's very quick. This dealership has now become a part of this dealership's family, and welcome to the family. And we run that for a specific length of time. And then we go into the amplify section of the campaign, where it's a 30-second video where it includes the new name and the dealerships, but it also has an incentive so that it drives people into your stores. It gives them a reason to come in and experience the new location or the new dealership. And then after that, we have the long format videos in the echo section of the campaign, where it tells more, it gives the story of the new dealership and what they bring to the new locations. There are various instances where the dealers have been bigger and have brought a lot more opportunity to that location because they can offer more because of their size. And sometimes that's a hard message to convey and maintain the local feel and flavor of the community. But we've had a lot of success with that.
And that is delivered, it can be delivered via TV, it can be delivered what do you want to call it, a stimulus kind of way.
Yeah.
But what we have found and what she has found with her team is during the 30-day window, like I was telling you that we're under an NDA, we we pull all the CRM information from the acquired dealer, and we know their physical addresses. We know if they were in service or just buying parts or purchasing equipment. And then we basically turn their physical address into an IP address. We center those IP addresses into a household, and we deliver those videos via household to the previous customer. So not spending, $100,000 on TV. It could be only $4,000, just delivering the message to the customers.
And avoiding the waste.
Right. Avoiding the waste, yes. Totally.
Yeah.
But when you're doing that, we deliver it, mobile, laptop, desktop, OTT, which is television.
Even tablets.
Yes. Connected TVs, etc. And OTT is going to be a totally different subject, but we do that. But that's the audience you want to talk to, and it's those personal relationships. It's kind of like it's kind of like a telecom company that I use at home. They specifically target me because they know I'm a customer, and they say, "Thank you so much for being a customer. Click here for your free upgrade," or whatever it may be. Those are the same tactics that we're using, and that's all called what we have trademarked Doppio Direct, and that gives us that ability to exactly what you said, no wasting.
Correct.
So that's a part of the video strategy as well. And then there is an overall tradigital strategy, which, as I said, she's the queen of tradigital strategy inside the EQ department. So why don't you talk about that?
Well, I think the most important message we can relay is that it's custom to each situation, and we look at each dealership independently and look at what the data tells us will work best for your market. It may be that we can do television, that is an affordable medium for your market, and we may try that. But there's a layering effect where you've got television, radio, we may do direct mail, some newspaper, or you may be in a geography that's just cost prohibitive, so we hit it more digitally. But there's no template really for any of these. We have the resources and the experience that we can go in and we can talk to your audience with the message that's most effective.
Well, the tailored custom, I mean, it's not just Karen and sitting at her cubicle, it's the Patricks of the world, the Kates of the world, the Alex Haynes, the Emmeline, your whole team kind of come together and figure out what's the data telling you, and then it drives that. There is no pick A, B, or C, and that's what you're going to get for your merger.
And what's so nice with this team is they have different experiences, and we collaborate on every situation. And so what worked over here for one dealer may work for your dealership, and we can present that idea to you, but customize it for your particular market, because these dealerships are unique. And even the locations within your dealerships, they're unique. And so it takes a very hands-on, specific customized approach for things like that.
And one thing you left off, and I don't mean to, but like billboards, like if we with the
Correct.
data sometimes, or not sometimes, the data will tell us if you have if you acquired a location that's very hard to find. We will figure that out via the business directories once we claim them, because people are clicking more on the directions versus the call or the website. So what does that mean? Hey, maybe we should put up a billboard that says, take this exit,
Yeah. This is how you
and
get
this
there.
dealership is now this dealership.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it encompasses a lot. And then the same thing just north of us, with a particular dealership, in-store marketing is important.
Local store marketing is very important.
Do you want to hit on that on inside of acquisition and mergers? I mean,
Absolutely. Once again, we look at your particular geography and location and see what is going to be most effective, because it's a personalized approach for you, for your dealership, and we can speak to your specific customer base based on how they receive the message in a most positive manner.
yeah, especially when they enter in the dealership, they want to have the best experience and actually kind of feel like it was home, but then also know that things are different. And so it goes a long ways to have, posters that says this is this now, and here's why, and here's our culture.
Right.
It could be a statement. I'm thinking one particular dealer but I'm not going to say it, but they share that culture throughout every single location they acquire, and they ensure that every salesperson, service, parts, all their employees have the exact same talking points, and they just do it very well, and they've teamed up to do, us to do the rest. One thing I do want to say before we get to the questions is that it doesn't, and I've said this already, but I'm going to say it again because it's not a clear switch. And I just really, really want to emphasize that, is that when you're going through an acquisition or a merger, specifically since we've been on the dealer side of it, you could be looking at 2 to 5 years of people searching for the old name, okay? And don't be afraid of that. Just be smart about it. Capture those leads, capture those people coming in, tell them the story, let them shop as in the normal customer journey, and then let them free flow. But what we see a lot happening is dealers will call us and say, hey, we just acquired this dealership and today is our day one. And then we're like, oh my God. So the best way is to alarm us, as soon as you know that the paperwork is signed and you get the keys in 30 days, we sign an NDA, we can't talk to anybody. We don't start populating business directories or anything like that on that particular day. We just get them ready to go on when you get the keys, right? And get all of that set up. So there's a lot of work that goes into it, and every single day in those 30 days, plus sometimes weekends, it's just her team hard at work trying to get it ready, and one person at the dealership just cannot do it. So anyway, that's what I wanted to say. Miss Grace is over there with questions, and again, if we don't have live questions today, please feel free. This video archives. This video gets hundreds of views. These videos do, after the live section. So feel free, even though it's not live, to go ahead and comment or direct message us in Messenger. Miss Grace?
Okay, so we've had a couple of questions come in live, and then I have some that we've gotten over the past few days. First question, if you know a merger is going to occur, when do you notify your marketing agency?
And actually, you just answered that. But the short answer is the sooner the better. And as Tim referred to, not only are we under an NDA, we're business partners, and we respect the fact that we respect the discretion behind this particular business transaction. So nothing will leave the walls of this company, but this gives us time to plan. And the more time we have to plan, the better the plan will be and the smoother the launch will be. Oh, yeah. We'll be ready to go so that when the paperwork is signed and it's public and you're ready to send the news release, we flip a switch and everything goes into action. But nothing would happen until that point.
And just like, I wouldn't say names on this camera about what I was talking about earlier, is because we are, it's funny, Karen came in my office one time and, she saw a stack of NDAs. It's just because we need that time, and it's so important to the entire process.
Well, next question. Customers likely feel the greatest impact about this, and I know y'all hit on this, but how does it affect customer interactions with the brand itself?
You want to take that, or you want me to take that?
You can start.
Okay. Well, I mean, it kind of goes back to the strategy of welcoming the past customers, right, via the IP address, et cetera. But then it is really an emotional connection. I mean, remember, we're in a vertical where shaking a hand really matters. Text messaging the salesperson, the service person, the CEO really matters. So having an emotional presence of the transaction plays a huge role into the strategy to influence what your question was just asked. That being said, let's say you take over a dealer, and we've had experience with this, that has had horrible reputation, and that's probably why they sold, right? And so they have a 1-star rating on Google, a 2-star rating on Yelp, a 2.5 on Facebook. Then we implement a review repair strategy where we take over those directories, but then we got to start getting positive reviews of the merger or acquisition. And that can take place, and we also do that as well, because we have seen dealers that are acquired that literally have 1-star reviews, and inside of the customer journey, when 77% of people are looking at reviews, no one's going to walk in that door, and that's probably why they sold. So that's a part of that equation as well. Do you want to add anything? Okay, sorry.
No, that's good.
Okay, next question. How do you take a personalization approach in marketing messages with online audiences during something like a merger or acquisition?
We have a list.
You.
And most of them we've touched on. The WO direct targeting with the customer email addresses.
And physical addresses.
Yep. And then we develop our ads to promote your specific company brand. And that's important to get the message out of who you are moving into the new location. And social media is important. And we've encouraged our dealers to post photographs with the location, with their employees, with their customers, if the customers are in agreement, and to bring their personality to the new location. And then, as Tim referred to, the custom video that we've shot with your dealership's employees, your specific location, because all the geographies are different.
Oh, yeah.
And
Every day of ours,
yes, they are. And once again, if your customers will agree, they can be in the videos. We've had great success with some of those. And then, as Tim mentioned, review management with personalized responses in the event even if they're positive reviews, we respond and express our gratitude for them leaving a positive response. And then, of course, directory listings, and then merging the social media pages, as we talked before, and then SEO. So
And I roll my eyes at that, because that's a big deal.
It is a big deal. It is, but it's worth it.
It has to be worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it.
It's a search.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, what are branding implications of mergers, particularly in creating a coherent and cohesive brand and communicating this to the customers?
So what's funny about that, or not funny, but some dealers out there want to rebrand their entire. They feel like it's a specific time to be able to rebrand their entire dealership. And it probably is the right time to rebrand the entire dealership. It just adds on the weight to everything else you're doing, but that's why we have an entire team. So, I mean, you can do a total rebrand at that point if you want a whole new logo. Like, there's multiple dealers that merge and then develop a whole new logo, develop a whole new branding statement, etc. We can definitely do that. But it's inside of those strategies that you can do what she was mentioning about the tease, amplify, and echo effect inside of IP address targeting and getting to the right people at the right time at the right frequency. Mm-hmm. So you are not trying to reach everyone, right? You're not trying to reach
everyone in the entire AOR. You are literally trying to reach a certain percentage, and every AOR is different, so every percentage is going to be wacky. But in the world, or in the United States, it's like 1.8% is the only people you really need to reach. Now, in your AOR, that could be different. You know, some people are 18%, some people are 11%, whatever that may be. And so that's where digital impact and targeting the right people at the right time at the right frequency and not wasting any dollars on Grace that, you know, lives in a house that has no acreage, that doesn't need a piece of equipment. But like Karen,
But wants one.
I know. But like Karen, she lives out in the middle of nowhere.
Thanks,
and,
Tim.
I know. And may need one. So she gets targeted a lot with our advertising. So there's that part.
Maybe that retargeting too. You know?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay, our last question that we had come in, how do you deal with customer backlash from mergers when services are phased out?
You want to take that one?
That's a tough one.
Well, I mean,
it is.
Here's the thing, though. What I have seen practiced and what we encourage, make sure everybody has the same talking points. So you're going to have staff meetings with the acquired dealer, of course. You're probably going to have 3 or 4 to 5, okay? And so make sure they have talking points of exactly what the message is being done in the marketing sector, the business directories say, the website says, the SEO says, the SEM says. Make sure all of that is coherent. And it's not just a marketing issue. It's exactly what Grace just said, is that there are going to be some services phased out. There might be a certain series phased out, whatever that may be. Everybody needs to have the same talking points, and that's going to be determined by location, because you're exactly right. Some of those services might be phased out per location because it was a lost leader or whatever that might be. So you really need to have the talking points, and there's not really one solution for this. It's really going to depend, just like you were saying, everything is a strategy. So if we know that we're going in to a merger or to an acquisition, and we know these particular locations, one's going to be really hard to deal with because of what we're going to have to do at that location because it was losing money like crazy, so we're going to have to do X, Y, Z. We can then help communicate that in a positive light inside the video strategy, inside of the display strategy, inside of the social strategy, inside the business directories. But then also Karen and her team will literally go to sales meetings.
Yes, we do.
And sit in sales meetings and
By
help.
By invitation.
Right.
Yes.
But it helps so much to then
Very
give the
educational.
entire sales team a download of here's what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't prepare the talking points, Karen's not shy and she can provide the talking points, which is a good thing because we need everybody on the same page. Does that answer that, Grace? Okay.
Yeah, that's all we have.
Okay.
You're done.
Well, thank you so much. And again, we hope to help you in this world of just crazy acquisitions and mergers. And we applaud everyone out there that is acquiring and merging. It is a fun time to be in that world, as I have done it with this company. But you got to get the foundation correct. And that's what we're here for, is the foundation, to get that all correct so that you don't lose that 19% in that customer journey. And that is all
Hopefully
with
gain
Karen's
more.
team. And
Hopefully
gain
gain
more.
more.
You
Yes.
can gain more.
Absolutely.
And we've seen that done.
We have find new customers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So if you have any questions, again, this is going to be archived. It'll be on YouTube. It'll be on our blog. It'll be a podcast. Just feel free to email us, add comments, or directly Facebook message us. Anyway, have a good day.